You're listening to the Karmic Mirror podcast, where we explore the wisdom tucked within the layers of the self-help world.
Together, we bridge the gap between esoteric teachings and practical tools for everyday life, with self-love and personal growth at the heart of each conversation.
Whether you're a seasoned seeker or just beginning your path, join us and uncover the magic within and around you. Hello and welcome back to another monthly installment of our Karmic Mirror New Moon Tarot reading with Liz Pratt. Hello, Allie.
Hello. New moon in Aries time.
New Moon in Aries time / all the things, all the planets in Aries time / what the heck is going on? No, that's exactly it. I think that's it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Aries energy going on in the ethos there. We're recording this a few days ahead of the new moon, which occurs on Friday, the 17th of April. And, you know, where do we start here? First of all, new moons, if you've been with us for a little while, we started these tarot readings with Liz Pratt on the new moon because it's a really, really great time to whether you feel like it's a reset, a recalibrate, whether you feel like it is truly a new beginning or simply turning the page to a new moment in an existing story, new moons really are that energy. It is a little bit of newness. It's a beginning. It is, and so it brings with it that energy. And Aries is, in archetypal astrology, Aries is the god of war. Aries, the sign, is ruled by the planet Mars. And in traditional Roman mythology, it was Ares, a god of war as well. And in traditional Greek, and then the Romans, it's Mars and it's Aries. Or it's the planet Mars. I'm really butchering this, but you'll get the gist of it. So essentially, this archetype is fiery. It's about action. And I think all signs, whether you like archetypal astrology, whether you subscribe to Roman deities, Greek, etc., there are different expressions, but at its core, Mars or Aries energy is about like this higher and lower expression of the god of war in so simplified of terms. But to me, it can be war from a really strategic and intentional way of doing things, whether it's diplomatic or it's, I think about a war general and historical that maybe was really inspirational and led with heart. And then there's a lower expression where war can happen from a place of panic and fear and chaos. And so to me, I think the energy can really veer into these two different expressions of Aries. And I feel like that is really relevant to how the world feels, maybe how I might feel in certain areas of life where there's this push and pull of tension. And all of that really lends itself to all of the other signs throughout the course of this week we're in that will also be in Aries. There's a lot going on. By the end of this week, I think we're going to have like 7 planets in the sign of Aries. Thinking about that Aries energy, so let me just lay it out really, really as succinctly as I can. Mercury will be conjunct Neptune on April 16th, so the day before the new moon. Mercury is the planet of information, of communication. And Neptune is about the disillusionment of boundaries. And so there's this push and pull of like clear facts and information and being like, I don't know what the hell is going on. We're just living in the dreamscape of Neptune. And then you have like direct energy from Mercury, and then you have fluidity with Neptune. So there's that. You have the new moon on Friday will be conjunct Chiron, and that's happening in Aries, all Aries energy, because Mercury will be in Aries, Neptune will be in Aries. The new moon is in Aries. Chiron will conjunct the new moon. Chiron is the wounded healer. So all signs point to a couple themes. If you listen to Chani Nicholas, who we love, she's one of our favorite astrologers on the podcast here, and she talks about Chiron as the wounded healer. And Chiron is in Aries. It's about what really hurts and why. What are the roots or the core roots of my wounding? And then there's also another layer of Aries energy is like, what are my wants, my desires, my needs? Because Aries is like, this is what I want, and I'm going to go get it. So there's this energy around what are my core desires and wants, which are oftentimes very intricately linked to our core wounding or what we didn't have or receive that we needed. And how do I take action towards those? So then if I just backtrack a little bit, we also have Mars, like we said, going to be conjunct Saturn. That happens April 19th. Those are also going to be in Aries. And so there's a lot of, so we're going to have Mercury, the moon, Neptune, the sun, and Saturn and Chiron. That's six. I think I'm missing one. But basically, all of those signs are going to be in the sign of Aries. And there's a lot of tension, a lot of push and pull because you have Saturn is the taskmaster about responsibilities, long-term goals, discipline. Neptune is like, what's discipline? We're living in dreamland. It's intuition and it's dissolution of boundaries. Whereas Saturn is like, I am boundaries. And then you have Mercury, which is information. And you have Mars, which is like, nope, just take action, ask questions, get the information later. You have the moon, which is our emotions. You have Chiron, the wounded healer. So all of this happening in Aries. And
I'm
so there's
glad you
this
can
like,
laugh about this. I'm
it's
glad you found
just,
this. I'll
it's
share in a
like,
minute how I've been feeling lately, but
yeah, well, you have you've got strong Aries placements. And here's the thing, when all of this is going on, how do we ground ourselves in our own decision making and free will while we look out where does Aries land in our chart? What house is it in? Maybe if you're a little bit more versed in astrology, you'll look at what other planets are around there. You'll look at, the deeper layers. But I think that the gist of it is where does Aries land for you? What house is it in? And then that can point you towards a little bit of clarity in this very hazy push and pull of like, I want to take action. I want to heal the wounds. I want to get to the root cause, but I also have no idea what's going on. I have no idea of what I can actually do. Like it's this very tension filled moment where we have all of this energy in Aries, but knowing the house, I find. And any astrologer will tell you, it's like you get a little bit of insight. Where is this playing out in your life? And what can you, as the person, as a human with free will, what can you do? How can you control what is controllable, which are your own actions, your ability to manage emotions, and therefore really, really reframe your thoughts around all of the effery. I won't curse again because I totally really cursed up a storm on our last episode. So we'll keep the explicit warning off of this one. But how do you use your free will? How do you use the tools at your disposal, whether it's emotional regulation tools, whether it's reframing your thoughts, whether it's just simply choosing in each moment to moment to, hold yourself through this kind of chaotic time and still be able to take the actions that feel manageable to you. Yeah, I'm all a big one on exercising your free will. And Aries is willpower. So, how do you wield what willpower, what free will you have at your disposal when everything around you feels like it's just like sand slipping through your fingers? And storm, like throwing everything into chaos around you. How do you manage your own free will and still hold yourself together through these moments? I find. Anyways, that's my take for now. You go ahead.
so my moon in the eighth house of Aries. So eighth house is transformation, shared resources, intimacy, and being in the moon, it's your body, your emotions. And
Hmm.
so I also think, like I shared with you earlier, that these new moons are falling right in line with my cycle of
Hmm.
before I bleed. It really, I get, without anything else going in my life, just hormonally, I can get a little bit more anxious, a little bit more ho hum, a little bit more like that. I know that. And how that is kind of showing up is that I'm feeling like I don't want to say frustrated, but it's like I literally wake up and sorry, we're gonna get the explicit. I'm just like, I don't fucking want to talk about this today. Like I'm over the new moon. I feel
Mm.
so terrible. It feels so chaotic. Everything I'm reading about, right? I'm trying to reframe and embrace this action, boldness, renewal. I'm trying to reframe all of that. And even just in my head, knowing that I'm going to be feeling more restless and that I can be doing more things to ground it, these moments, and I think it's like that new moon too, just makes me feel so much pressure. And it's just causing me a lot. I'm feeling very out of my body, very
Hmm.
uncomfortable, very like, I don't know what the fuck to do. I'm reading this and it's like my lease is up at the end of May. And so while there are these things where it's like big, bold moves, it's like so easy to say. And for me and my emotional authority, where I'm getting so frustrated, is that I'm so overwhelmed and there's so much like chaos of just the brain is in overdrive that
Hmm.
it feels like I can't get a clear sense of what action steps I need to take.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of shame and judgment around that. And I was just like sobbing this morning because I just was so paralyzed because I'm just feeling all of this energy and it's just hitting on a lot and not
Yeah.
feeling like, yeah, I don't have the time every day to be like, what's this about? What's this feeling about? Right? It's like, I got to figure
Mm.
out if I'm staying, if I'm going, doing
Yeah,
my
yeah, yeah.
budgets and all of that stuff. Like a decision has to be made. And so, I think that's why I end up twofold. One, just being this time of month energetically showing up, I think isn't setting me up for the best optimism for these
Mm.
conversations. And then I think two, this Aries energy is like I have not felt this much physical anxiety in my body in a really long time. And so it's getting me really frustrated because it's those
Hmm.
I don't want to pay attention to you right now
Yeah.
because I want to get XYZ done. And so
Yeah.
just kind of living in that place. So I
Yeah,
don't,
I mean, you are living out the astrology, exactly the
yeah.
astrology, right? I mean, that's what I said. It's like there's like, I want to take action, but I have no clarity. That's the energy right now. It's like
Yeah.
I don't have clarity, right? And no one's asking anyone to make bold moves, but like if I really think about God of War, just in its just the essence of this idea or the archetype, or I think about a leader, a hero, right? Like in the hero's journey, the challenges don't come when you're like, okay, I'm ready for it, give it to me. It comes in the moments where you are lacking in all optimism, where you are lacking. This is where the challenge comes because that's part of the experience and not
Yeah.
just to water down anyone's experience. It's just, I'm just purely thinking of just these archetypal journeys, right? Is that the hero or heroes because they are tasked with having courage when every experience around them points to fear and confusion and obstacles in your way. And this new moon, I'm sorry, this new moon, but this really moment of all these planets in Aries and the new moon, it's like this moment of at least what I feel is like you just have no choice but to take courage, to find the courage somewhere in you to come through it because there is no other energy that's pointing to that. We have six, almost going to be seven planets in Aries. So it's
Mhm.
like there are no flowers. There are no lovely, like, there's no, I hate to say this, there's no winners in war, right? There's no winners. There's no flowers and sweetness about that energy, about chaos. And also on the other side of it, if we can come through it, right? Like it's how we choose to move through it in the ways that we can control, regardless of any outer circumstances. And so I think the themes are have find your courage, find it wherever it is in you for anyone, right? Including myself. and reclaim your own direction. Like that's the theme of it because there is an element of action. It's all Aries. There's a lot of confusion. There's all of these conjunctions happening. There's all these planets that do different opposing things or have opposing
Mhm.
energy. So to expect ourselves to know the next step is a daunting task in itself. And we're not even being asked for that. We're asking, what do you like? No, you don't have to have clarity. You don't have to know the next step because it's not that it's impossible, but it feels very impossible, which is the experience of the hero's journey. You're up against impossibilities, but you root into yourself. You find some sense of courage to keep moving forward because it does exist in all of us in some way, but we are the only ones who can find it in ourselves. And then how do you take courage in whatever way you can, even if it's a tiny semblance of it, and reclaim the direction of your life in some way, shape, or form? That doesn't mean go jump into the next step, but like reclaim and reorient yourself to the direction that does feel most purposeful and most meaningful in that moment, even if it's the smallest thing. And I think at least this is what I feel. And we haven't even gotten into Liz's reading at all, which we'll get, which obviously is going to play after this, but that feels like the task right now. Yeah, that is the theme that comes up for me is yes, there's a lot around our hurts, our woundings. There's Chiron, the wounded healer, which as we've recorded an episode on Chiron, the wounded healer, you don't connect with your sense of healing and your deep gifts to maybe impart more healing in the world just by getting given those things. You go through the wounding to experience the healing and to experience the gifts. And so there it isn't pretty all the time, but so with all of that, with that Aries energy, it's like, yeah, it's like what's hurting? What is the root core? What are my desires, my wants, my needs? How do I take action? Well, I don't freaking know, but I do know that like, it is about how do I reclaim this part of myself? And I think that's what comes up.
I was thinking about that, but then as you started talking, because this is what tends to happen, I think that's where sometimes worth a deeper look, whatever, when I got the time. But so in human design, not self is frustration. And
Hmm.
so it's like anytime I'm frustrated, I'm trying to understand why, obviously, because I don't want to feel that way anymore. But sometimes it takes a little time. And literally, Michelle, speaking of, I just literally brought up that example about my lease and just feeling like so chaotic. And just for context, I don't have another home, a parent's home I can just
Yeah.
go live in the interim, right? Or like store all of my stuff at houses. So it really is, it's like a decision. But I had emailed the management company and asked for an extension on my current lease because that's where I was feeling very like, I know I don't feel like I want to commit to another year, but I'm like
Right.
feeling so chaos. And I also have a gig June 2nd in Salt Lake City. So as we were talking, I just in my brain, I'm like, go check your email. And literally they had responded and they were like, yeah, we're happy to extend it. Just let us know mid-July if that's fine. And so I'm laughing a little bit because it
Yeah.
is just do the little things you can do,
Yep.
but my brain is very much and just in full transparency, not to be like negative Nelly, but really is in that it's like going to worst case scenario
Yeah.
possible. And that really is just the emotions that are coming up. But also, when I look at the new moon in Aries and the impact, like one of those is an emotional transformation and cleansing. And I know with me, a lot of that is asking for what I want, asking for what I
Yep.
need, and not just accepting those things. And it's just been really heavy, I think. And for me, always with my body, like when I'm feeling out of my body, that tends to be the domino effect to everything in my life. But it also makes sense why my whole life, because of that, I had figured out ways to numb it and push all of those feelings down so I could keep maintaining. And that's not the solve either. So when we're talking about, I think about, I want to say like the conflictingness of it all. It's like
Yeah.
move, be bold, but also, don't be reckless.
Yeah.
Again, I know we were talking about narratives a lot earlier, but my brain can just really want to like succinctly put things into a bucket of like, just tell me what to do and I will
Yeah.
do it, right. And I think also with just the movement of it all. because as you know, I've been really exploring and planting seeds around getting out of the Northeast. And so I can also, when I read things like that, think, see, I'm just supposed to move. I'm just supposed to go.
Yeah.
And then I start, and then it's like the spiraling, but those are my own programmings and things. But I
Mm,
also think that as I'm bringing that up, I bring it up because I think it parallels and piggybacks and matches a lot of your descriptions of the things going on now and very
yeah.
3-5 line for me to identify how that comes to fruition in my life and plays out is important. I hope it's helpful for our listeners. Again, I'm not
Hmm.
trying to be super negative Nelly about it. I'm an emotional authority, y'all. It's like I wake up and I'm like, is this just my emotional wave this morning? Or is this Aries new moon? Is this my cycle? And the reality of it is it could be all of those things. And
It's
so I
all
think
those things.
like yeah, this is a nice, while I kind of dread it, it also is a nice space and time to put aside to, like, selfishly, we kind of get to do our quote unquote work as we talk
Yeah,
through
we get to
our
process out
podcast. Yeah.
loud. And that's really, really, I've mentioned a couple times, but every sign having, just like every human or emotion or whatever, right? Like every sign having this higher and lower expression. And I think about just scaling back to Aries, God of War. I keep saying this. I mean, I think I'm like saying the word war too much because it's so like real and sensitive and horrifying the state of the world that we're in
Yeah.
and so I don't mean it in that way because there's yeah, it's just but I'm
And
just
to be
thinking
fair,
in terms
Aries
of
is the god of war.
right, and just the higher and lower expression, right? When you say bold moves or whatever, right? The truth is the best expression of of a god of war is an action, but strategic. And so it's like, it's not the lower expression is reckless, bold action, I think. And the higher expression is being intentional and strategic and diplomatic in the ways that you'd make bold actions. And I think that's the discernment and the parsing through what feels right. It's like that's the controlling what we can control in this moment where things may or may not feel chaotic. And I think also when you allow yourself to have nuance or allow yourself to really broaden your own perspective of what's going on personally and what's happening. Like oftentimes what's happening around us is mirroring back or vice versa, the chaos and the fear and the, like horrible implications of this overarching of for lack of a better word, wars,
Yeah.
warring inside, warring in the world. When we have that discernment, we can also start to see that in these moments, like just using your example, it's like we're not all experiencing things in the exact same way, even though the themes, overarching themes, might be trickling into our lives or we're feeling them stronger, lesser, what have you. But there's a spectrum of what people could be experiencing and how they're experiencing in their lives. And so for some people, could be feeling this new moon like really do feel optimistic or they can leave with heart and take bigger actions because that's where they are in their personal lives and some people may feel it really heavy and we'll get to the reading but Liz I think in her reading mentions this moment of taking action of initiating something from the heart this having this sense of optimism but she also touches on for anyone who might be feeling really heavy because there's a full range. And I think what you describe is like this idea that sometimes those outer influences can really push you or force you to feel like you need to do things a certain way or take action in a certain way when the truth is for you or whoever may be listening, it feels like you're in a totally different experience and expression of this same energy. And if people are feeling heavy, I like what she talks about, right? Setting mental boundaries with negative self-talk. She talks about, and I may be paraphrasing, but I think to the email of it all, she mentions watching for signs, watching for divine signs, for synchronicities that are confirming that you are still supported. And so it's like everything is chaotic, right? And you're like, okay, let me just like pause, right? Let me do this in action. Let me just check my email. And it's like this subtle sign that like, okay, yes, shit's real. It's chaotic. you have some real decisions that have to be made. You can't just like pretend they don't exist and they're causing you pressure and heaviness or pressuring you to take
Yeah.
action when it doesn't feel super clear. And there are still moments where you can reclaim your own direction. You can have that moment. And like I know courage sounds like this bigger huge thing, but like actually sometimes it does take courage to open the email. Sometimes it takes courage to listen to the voicemail that you don't want to listen to of the person. Like sometimes it is so simple and so small, but it does reach into. And those are the small things that I think when we're like, no, I don't see it. I'm not feeling it. But you're like, actually, it exists within you. And you check the email or whatever, just this example, and you see the sign that you are still being supported, even though, right? It's like, yeah, it's so relevant. So I really love that in her reading. And, I won't give too much away, but I do know that I think she plugs her new course, her new program, Awakening the Artist, which I think is really lovely to think about looking for the signs, looking for the synchronicities, allowing them to come to you, allowing yourself to find courage in even the smallest moments to reclaim what's yours, reclaim your direction, but also finding the places, the people, the experiences in life that are supportive because sometimes we have to do a little bit harder looking or digging to see them.
Brene Brown talks about courage alongside of vulnerability because
Mm.
at the one of the roots of the word courage is core, which literally means heart. And so it's what she says, it's the willingness to show up and be seen when you can't control the outcome, is how she talks.
Yep.
And so I was searching for that. And I forget which book that's from, but I have it. It's the one on vulnerability. But anyways, I was just thinking about that. And then also, yeah, as you were talking, it's like the other theme that's been coming up for me a lot lately too is the hope versus patience and how patience, something's coming and hope includes patience, right? You don't necessarily know that it's coming, but you need this patience. And so I also, I mean, not only is it programming, but I think of this very action. I had gotten my lease renewal last week. I just spent a little bit of time. I sent an email. So I've been continuing to just get these reminders that my lease renewal and how many times I've wanted to just pick up my phone and text the manager and say like, "Hey, I sent you an email. Did you get it?" And part of it is because I'm wanting an answer. I want to make that feeling of like no control and not knowing what's going on dissipate. And just I think that's also it feels very uncomfortable for me, but in those moments because I've done this work to recognize what's coming up for me, so I can pause and be like, don't email him. You're going to get an answer. And if you don't get an answer in a week or two, that's fine, but you don't need an answer today. You're not going to make a decision today.
Yeah.
You want an answer today. And so that kind of has me thinking about this bold action, right? But being strategic about it and just the need to want, yeah, when you're in the uncomfortableness of it all, which I think these energies are evoking that for me for sure. And we've talked about this a lot in our conversations is like being uncomfortable is normal. It's
Yeah.
just we like to feel that way. And so we want to run from it and do everything to get away from it. But
Mm.
yeah, I think the cool thing also that I picked up on is that in Liz's journey, she typically is sitting with a goddess, and this is
Mhm.
really her transition into she's really just channeling through herself and her higher being. So I thought that that
Yeah.
was really cool and interesting. And I'd written down some notes about the cards. I don't remember all of the cards, but there were some themes in that really resonated to me. The theme of it's time to move into that state of creation. And of course, she's got a new program out that fits really well into that. And then kind of the concept like maybe there's something in the back of your mind and you won't know what happens if you don't try it. Now, that gave me a
Mhm.
little bit of anxiety too, because it's like almost making me feel like I have to do something. But then I think it was the Page of Swords, really about getting out of your own way and getting out of your
Mhm.
head. That like really resonated. It was get out of your head. And when I'm in this frustrated part, I know I probably haven't brought this side to the podcast that much, but I can be very self-deprecating, very,
Mhm.
okay, easier said than done. Like, I'll just do that, get out of my head. But I was able to really pick up, again, it's that theme of perfectionism and just really like getting out of my way. I did really resonate too with the Six of Wands when she was talking about getting support from your community. And as gift 37 in the community, I was like trying to just really think about how I'm incorporating my community into what's going on next, which also just opens up another can of worms with the vulnerability aspect. Because when you invite people in to help you, there's got to be some vulnerability there. So those were kind of the themes that I were thinking about. And I'll listen to it again when this launches, because for those of you who might be your first time, Michelle and I talk about our thoughts of the energies and the pull, and then Liz's reading will follow on the backside of this episode.
Yeah, I think just to close out is that I think it's really important for all of us to find some way, however we get there, of being able to discern what something means for us versus what we think it means because it's what it means more broad. So, just using the example of boldness and taking action. And we talk about this a lot because it comes up in coaching, it comes up in just everyday life. But yes, there is a broad term of what the meaning of bold action, what it means to be bold, what it means to take action, big bold steps, right? And I also think it's so critical that we be able to find our way to what does that look like for us? Because what bold actions mean for someone else, and really what it means to someone else's nervous system, what it means to someone else's experience of life in that moment, their circumstances that they're in, bold can look a lot different from person to person. And so we hold ourselves to this expectation of, oh, it's a time to take bold action. That means I must do the big thing. But the truth is, it's like that's setting ourselves up for so much disappointment and judgment when we don't do the thing the way someone else would do it, because we can't. We only can do what works, what is right, and what means something to us in that moment. And so bold action may be in someone else's narrative, and who cares, right? The moment that you are in right now might mean something very different. It might, in someone else's narrative, be like, oh, that's a bold action. Well, yeah, it is, because that's where my nervous system is. That's where
Mm.
the circumstances around me are allowing me to take bold action. And it's still, I keep coming back to, because I'm a manifesting generator, momentum. Momentum is something that for me, it is built into my essence. I am here to create momentum. And in so much of what I do and what I influence in the world, my energy thrives in momentum. And so so how do you get to that? It's by taking your own level of realistic, doable actions and steps. Like you're creating your own momentum. And it can be tiny steps for someone else, but who's to say? Like your boldness may express itself in so many different ways, and we just have to start just whether it's being more aware of what that looks like for us as individuals, being more connected to what that feels like, and really how we define things for ourselves. Because the point is, it doesn't even matter whether it's a big, bold step to you or anyone else. It's what it feels like for you and your ability to create your own sense of momentum and take action in those ways. So that's how I feel. And I hope you stay tuned and listen to Liz's reading that we're going to play right now.
Hello, Karmic Mirror community. It's me, Liz, of Fireside Healing, back with your new moon tarot reading. Okay, it's Aries season. We have a bold, beautiful new moon in the sign of Aries. And I'm an Aries. I have a stellium in Aries. And I love Aries energy, even if sometimes it feels a little chaotic, a little frenzied, sometimes even a little scary. You know, Aries asks us to take bold steps, to initiate, to move, to jump into action sometimes, most times, without even a plan. And for some of us, that can be a little bewildering. As an Aries, as somebody who kind of jumps in with both feet, I spent most of my childhood and adolescence and young adulthood being told, wow, you need to have a plan. What are you doing flying by the seat of your pants? That will never work. You are too bold, too much, too chaotic. But you know what? That is my very nature. And this is where I shine. So this new moon is really asking all of us to tap into this Aries energy. We all have Aries somewhere within our charts. We all have this fiery leader who loves to play and loves to take the world by storm, start the thing, do the thing, even if we don't know how it will end or, what the results will be. This is really the time for us to just get up and try something new and bold and bring that bold awareness into our daily lives. So here we are. Here is your channeled reading. I have channeled this reading today from my Oversoul. I began channeling by channeling deities, specifically Hecate, and then I began working with Artemis and Apollo and Sekhmet, and now I am really tapping into my own Oversoul, the gigantic, ancient, wildly powerful, super confident, high level divine version of myself. And so this is the message today. We have the Queen of Wands, the Page of Swords, Justice, the Six of Wands, and the Wheel. This is a cycle. This is the time. It has come full circle. Whatever you have been sitting with, it is time to begin moving into a state of creation. The truth is, and I don't know if if we're taught this or if we all know this about, spirituality and being divine beings, but we are here to create. That's it. I mean, we are here to create, and we all have, our mission or maybe many missions, things that we are contracted to do as souls within our human lifetime. And this can look like, partnerships, businesses, children, all the things, right? But at the end of the day, we are here to create. That is what humans do. We create something out of nothing. That is our magic. And we have lost this within our society. We are told to stand up, grow up, go get a job, and work for someone else, for survival. And we get really lost within this mundane day-to-day productivity wheel of just getting up, living for someone else, coming back home, going to sleep, getting up, living for someone else, coming back home, going to sleep. But we are all artists. We are all creatrixes and creators. And I think when we think about art, we are immediately think about something like painting or singing or, making music and sculpture. And we think, well, no, I'm not talented. No, I'm not artistic. No, I don't know how to do that. I'm not good enough. Because so many things within our society are created to tell us that, right? No, you didn't draw it correctly. You're not an artist. You're not creative. Just go back to the factory, get back on the assembly line. Creating is something that only a few special people can do. But no, guys, that is complete bullshit. So this is a time when not only are you being urged to create, but you are being urged to really play and to try new things and to start reframing in your mind how you view creation at all. You can definitely start by getting some art materials and allowing yourself to play. Or this could be a program. This could be your website. This could be A volunteer opportunity. Maybe you want to create something for your community. Whatever it is, this is the time it's not really the time just to sit and think about it, but really to take actionable steps towards it and to just, throw it to the wind and like go for it. No, like none of this like thinking or overthinking. We are in a fire period, and it's not just the moon is in Aries, it's the sun is in Aries, Mars is in Aries, a lot of other planets. I'm not an astrologer, so I'm not going to get into all that, but we are heavy in the spirit of Aries. So this is the time to do. Now we have the Justice card, which kind of tells me that this is something that maybe you've been thinking about for a long time. Maybe you have had this in the back of your mind. You've had this little dream, this little wish, but you're like, I don't know. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. No, you can't stop. You can't self-sabotage anymore. You can't continue to look yourself in the mirror and lie to yourself and say, I'm not good enough, or that'll never happen. It won't happen if you don't try. This is all about, yes, taking action, creating, but also trying. Like, when was the last time you tried something new? When was the last time you created something that was really in your mind and on your heart? We had the new moon in Pisces, and that was like the portal, right? The opener, your dreams can become reality. And now we're in Aries, and it's saying, okay, do the thing. And I know how difficult this can be as somebody who has struggled most of their life with ADHD, depression, complex trauma disorder. I know how heavy the word just can be. Just get up and do it. Just do it. Just do it. I've been told that my whole life, and it has felt like a slap in the face. And so I know how difficult it can be, but I'm telling you, with this reading I'm looking at, you are divinely supported in this. It's the energies of nature, of the moon, of the sun, of everything in our cosmos is lining up right now to say, even if nothing comes of this, but you had a good time, but you proved to yourself that you could do something, that's enough. That's enough, right? And we have the Page of Swords. It's telling us, get out of your own head and get out of your own way. Sometimes the Suit of Swords can be very analytical. We're thinking a lot. We're strategizing. Our mental agility is very important. Thinking is very important. But sometimes we get stuck in our own heads, right? And if you have a lot of air signs, or sometimes even like earth signs can be really like, ooh, I need to make sure this is perfect. No perfectionism. Perfectionism is a wound, and it's something that if we all kind of keep tied to this like idea of perfect, then we'll never get anywhere. And you gotta let it go. And we have the Six of Wands, which is public recognition. This is like support from the community. This is all eyes on you. This is receiving, some sort of like applause, admiration for going out and doing the thing. Maybe you are karmic mirror community. Maybe you are the brave one. Maybe you're the first one. Maybe you're hearing this and you're like, oh my God, you're right. I got to do it. And then you do it and you inspire other people to do it. This is a time for leaders. This is a time for the leaders who don't even know that they're leaders. The leaders who have been told most of their lives that like, you can't do it. You can't make it. You're too lazy. You're undisciplined. Well, now is our time to shine. Go wild, my sweet, beautiful community, and try something new. So what are you going to create? We have the wheel. This is like a cycle. Maybe we've even felt this kind of creative energy before in your lifetime. It feels like it's been a few years since you've really felt this like excited, optimistic push to take some kind of action. We are in spring. We're entering Taurus season very soon, in a few days. And everything around us is green. It's coming back to life. When we see the color green, this is, of course, the color of our heart chakra. So it is illuminating our hearts. It's opening us up. It's making us feel optimistic. The sun is on our side here. So lean into this joy. And if you're not feeling joy, and if you're not feeling like you can create, fake it till you make it. You won't hear me say this very often, fake it till you make it, but it's the time. Do it through the tears. Do it through the anguish. Just get up and try something. Okay, so I've pulled a few more cards here. We have the Four of Cups, Queen of Swords, and the Lovers. Okay, so if you are feeling more of that melancholy, so if you're on the other end of this is your time to connect with solar energy. This is the time to, when you get up in the morning and you're feeling like, oh, I can't do this, I'm in my own head, I want you to start with a meditation. And it's such a simple meditation. This is all it is. You can do whatever breathing technique you want. Slow inhale in through the nose, exhale out the mouth. All you're doing in this meditation, though, is visualizing the sun. Visualize the sun. Allow it to burn bright in front of you and feel that solar fluid emanating through your auric field, through your body, through your cells. Allow that to give you the energy you need to get up and be in that optimistic, playful energy. The Lovers, yes. Partnerships, romantic relationships, yes, of course, but also balancing energies, also balancing the energies of light and dark within us. So if you're feeling like you're still in that darkness, you're still feeling heavy from winter, connect with the energies of the sun. The Queen of Swords is so good with her mental boundaries. So this is for those, again, who are like, you get stuck in your own head. You maybe have, you have imposter syndrome. The Queen of Swords is the archetype that teaches you how to have boundaries with your own thoughts. She is the queen of mental health. So if you have those nagging thoughts, put them away. Tell them to kick rocks. They're not welcome here today. And the Four of Cups, this is a divine surprise from the universe. So you may feel that if you're still in that melancholy, there may even be some divine sign, some synchronicity, something that is really going to resonate with you, that is going to confirm not only that this reading is for you, but that you are supported and that you have everything within you to create in some capacity. So this could be like you're creating something so big that it's going to, move you into true abundance. Or maybe this is just beginning creating where you're like, oh my God, I did that and it felt really good. And now that might be something that I can incorporate into my daily practice. I feel more childlike. I feel more ambitious. I feel excited because I initiated this play and I initiated this creativity within myself. So wherever you are, the message is, I think I've said this like 1,000 times now, but that's fine. The message is to create, to reframe how we think of creation. You are an artist. We are all artists, and you have the ability to tap into the frequency of artistry. I hope that this new moon puts you exactly where you need to be. And if you need support, if you are wanting to create and you know something really beautiful and really significant is somewhere inside of you, it just needs some nurturing and some support in order to be unearthed and expressed, I am offering a 12-week group container for just that. It's called Awakening the Artist. And this is a fully channeled program that is going to move us from despondence and stagnation into creative inspiration. We are all artists and we are all here to express our art through ourselves. So if you are ready to join me in a supported, lively, exciting container where I will be channeling not only my oversoul, but also transmissions from Artemis and Apollo, visit my website, firesidehealing.me, and go ahead and sign up or book a call with me and we'll do a little tarot, we'll chat, and we'll see if it's right for you. All right, so until next time, witches, have a amazing week and blessed be.
Thanks for tuning in. If you resonate with today's conversation, connect with us on Instagram at Karmic Mirror Podcast and send us a message.
And don't forget to subscribe wherever you listen. And if you're loving Karmic Mirror, we'd appreciate a glowing review or share with someone who could benefit.
As we close, remember, life is not a one-size-fits-all approach. How are you honoring your unique path? Stay curious and always be kind to yourself. Until next time on Karmic Mirror.